Are you concerned that your family law firm will stagnate in today's fast-changing world? Or do you struggle to be innovative? Well, the key to a thriving practice is small, micro innovations that compound over time. My name is Jeff Hughes, and I'm the CEO of Sterling Lawyers. We are a 25-plus attorney family law firm doing over $15 million in revenue. And my purpose here is to help other family lawyers build the practice of their dreams. And in this video, I'll describe how any law firm can innovate their practice over time, even those lawyers who don't consider themselves innovative or creative. So in today's show, we're talking about law firm innovation, family law firms where I play, because it can be a really difficult topic to understand, get your head around, and to actually implement and execute. So I believe when we hear the word innovation in a practice or in a business, we think of these big, huge cultural examples of innovation. You think of Steve Jobs, some of the innovations that he brought to Apple, which have significantly impacted our culture with the iPhone. We think of the electric car with Tesla setting the standard in electric cars. So those are the big things we think of innovation. So I'm not talking about any of that stuff here today. I want to focus us in on law firm innovation. And I want to recognize when it comes to law firms, innovation is very hard. So we all know the reasons why. We're in a profession where precedent means everything. So by our own organic build, we value what's happened in the past, not what's going to happen or what could happen in the future. So by design, innovation, I believe, in the law is really hard, and it's extremely hard in family law where I play. What I'm focusing on here today are smaller, growing law firms. Sometimes I worry that the size of our firm makes us unrelatable to family lawyers. We weren't always 25 plus attorneys, 70 teammates. We were two people at one time, and we had the mindset of innovation from the very beginning. So what I want to share with you today is our story, our innovation winners and our innovation losers, because it helps, I believe, give you some context for how to think about innovation in a family law practice context. Starting right away, how do I do that practically without making this the entire focus of my practice, because I have all these other things that I have to be doing. So, okay. That's where we're going with this here. Let me start with our story, and we're going to be 11 years old in June. So the past 10 plus years or so is really what I'm going to condense down to just a few minutes here. When Tony and I started the practice, we envisioned a practice that would be disruptive and that would be innovative. We felt like the way things have always been done at that time needed to change. Technology and culture were going to force those changes on us, so we wanted to drive some of that change. And we sat down and we laid out our values, the things we held dear and lived out and that were naturally reflected in what we do. We came up with 4 of them. And one of those 4 was the value of embrace and drive change. So from our very inception, woven into our DNA, into our foundation, was the idea of innovation. I also want to share with you that quite candidly, only about 1/3 of those ideas had any real merit. Okay, so that means a lot of failures, many, many more failures than successes. Okay, so that's, I think, inherent in any innovative law firm or business. You're going to have a lot of failures before you find a few winners. So most of them fail, and that's true for us. But we did have a few winners, and it only takes a few winners to really enjoy success. So let me give you some context where we are today as a practice. So today, we've got 25 plus attorneys. I know we have 4 more starting here in a few months when they graduate from college, or from law school rather. And of those, around 20-ish or so are senior associate level attorneys. Every single one of those collect over $600,000 a year, and some of them significantly beyond that. That represents a dramatic level of efficiency. Now, we've done that while at the same time achieving astronomical client success scores, okay? So we're able to have our cake and eat it too on this, because a lot of times whenever you have a high volume practice, the converse of that is you have a high volume of client complaints. We do not have that. It's the exact opposite. As we have grown out our practice and as we've increased our collections, at the same time, we've seen dramatic jumps in our client satisfaction scores. We use a system called the Net Promoter Score. And what it does is it asks one question. Now, all of us listening here have responded to this question at some point in our life. And the question is this: on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to recommend our service, our product, to your friends or your family members? And a 9 or 10 is considered a promoter. A 7 or 8 is considered neutral, meaning that they don't count. And anything 6 or below is considered a detractor. All right, so you average those responses together and you get a number. And Disney's, they're parks. Now, this is where it's the happiest place on earth, okay? So if you've been to Disney, other than the fact that they vacuum out your pocketbook, it's really kind of a cool place. Even in the Disney parks, the happiest place on earth, their net promoter score is a 48. What about a company like Apple? Apple does an incredible job in putting out their products and their software that all integrate so well together. There it's 61. Here in our practice, in a family law practice, we are dealing with people going through catastrophic crisis in their life. Our net promoter score after their case is over, not during their case, not after the initial consult, after their case is over is 63. That is astounding. And we've been able to do that at the same time that we've grown because of a whole bunch of compounding innovations that I'm going to share with you here. So I'm going to talk about some of our winners first. I'm more proud of those, not the many losers that we've had. So from a big swing, massive perspective, the obvious one is our success around fixed fees and how we've been able to build a fixed fee system to serve our clients. Our clients love it. Our lawyers love it. Our team loves it. So we don't do any hourly. That took us years to get there. That we lost our shirts the first couple of years in trying to figure this out, how to sell it, how to serve it, and all of that sort of thing. And so we've piled up innovations around selling fixed fee. We use a blend of non-lawyers and lawyers to do that. We have sales programs internally called Consult College that we run all the time to teach our team on how to provide value in the consult room, how to listen with empathy, how to connect with clients. And then for the attorneys, once we are lucky enough to get this client to serve, how do we deliver a fixed fee service to them? That requires a complete reversal of how family lawyers practice. In our world of family law, it's a very reactive practice. The judge pushes the agenda. Sometimes the other party does. Sometimes your client does. The other attorney. It's just really hit or miss depending on what's going on. Some cases can flounder for years because no one's pushing the case forward. So you have kind of a reactive mindset on how you practice family law in your traditional hourly environment. However, when you go to fixed fee, you don't have that luxury. You have to be proactive and push that case along. You got to be the one to do that. And getting attorneys to move from the reactive mindset to being a proactive mindset was a significant challenge. It took us half a decade to figure that piece of it out. But once we did that, there's been many innovations that have piled up to make that happen. And it's been really special for our clients and for our team. And the foundation of all that was a process that we developed where attorneys and paralegals get together on a weekly basis and they go through a whole structured workflow for every one of the clients, rating clients on where they're at and so forth, plotting out and putting in tasks for the next upcoming events that are sometimes months ahead, but most of the time weeks out. They're putting those tasks and projects together. So that was a bunch of innovations there. We're really proud of that across the team. So we've had innovations in digital marketing, and one of the ones that really sticks out is our success with webinars that are run by non-lawyers. So we're not using lawyer time on this, we're using non-lawyer time on that. And it's been a great source of clients, especially for those clients that are not ready for anything, that are kind of what we call real top of funnel. We also had some initial early innovations in our use of maps, the Google Maps system and how they do their thing. And we were able to successfully manage that really well in the beginning. And that was one of our early and probably years 2 through 5, a significant driver of our success. Today, it's a major component of our overall marketing mix. As far as I know, we're the first firms that did the way we did it with multiple locations and making them legit locations where people actually lived at, worked at, and that sort of thing. Today, we have ongoing, constant innovation on how we're using AI tools to serve clients either in communication with them or certainly on document prep. Every firm should be looking at this very seriously on how to improve and speed up our document prep. We also developed an attorney competency matrix to allow us to objectively, not subjectively, but objectively evaluate the progress of an attorney that joined our practice, and also to give our attorneys a roadmap. Like, okay, here's where you're at. Here's what it's going to take for you to get to the next level or the next levels, depending on where your desires and skill set and drive might be. So that's been a great management tool, culture building tool, and everything. We've come up with some products that right now we're doing Sterling Resolve, which is an AI enhanced product to help people that are pro se. We've just launched that, and we're not quite sure how we're going to sell it yet. We're trying to figure that out. But from a standpoint of the deliverables, it's great value for any client that doesn't want to hire a full rep attorney. We've come up with a lot of different products over the years. We've broken up our services into chunks. We do strategy sessions, and we pioneered that, at least in our areas, and that's been a real driver for future clients that would come in for strategy, come back later for full rep. So that's been really good. Now here's another one that we've done that is really counterintuitive, but has been, I would consider, an innovation that gives a lot of comfort and social proof to our clients. And that's this. We put all of our individual attorney reviews on their attorney page. So someone that's considering hiring one of our attorneys can go read what past clients have had to say about her. And on both sides of that review, it's been really, really healthy and really, really positive. I have yet, as of now, I've never seen another law firm that's done that. Now they'll do it. They'll put all their positive reviews or some of their positive reviews on their website, and they'll say, hey, here's all these clients, and they're all 5-star, right? We put every one of our reviews, bad ones, good ones, neutral ones, whatever, on our website for potential clients to see. So that, I think that really builds trust. Also, another innovation is about a third of our teammates right now are international. That opens up our pool of possible candidates to really high-level talent people that we're able to get into our team, and it's been a real improvement to our efficiency. So those are like some of the big kind of marquee, big innovations that we've been able to accomplish. Let me kind of, flip that coin over and talk about some of the just dog losers that we've had over the years. Now, we spent a lot of money building a mediation system. It turned out that we were getting a fair amount of clients that wanted mediation. It was actually a very profitable area of our practice. Lawyers love it. It's not acrimonious and it's not contentious, right? And, it's just happy practice in some ways. And our attorneys love it, and it's very profitable because we were able to execute it in a efficient manner. Of course, your clients love it because they're not having to fight with each other. So that was all good. We're like, wow, what if we can kind of scale this out? We can make a digital product around this. And so we came up with this website. It may still be out there, called Simple Path Forward. And we pumped a ton of time and effort into that and promoted it. I think we got like one client out of it after, months and months of prep and promotion and that sort of thing. And we just actually killed it. And I'm not exaggerating that. I've tried dozens of tactics, probably over 100 at this point, to improve our sales process. And it has been nothing but jamming my face against a wall, it feels like. We've had some breakthroughs, especially with our CLA program. Finally, after a couple of years, we've kind of got that solved. Like one of them that sticks out to me is I came up with this process to do advanced research on all potential clients. Facebook postings, where they work, their LinkedIn, blah, 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 blah. The idea was, okay, we can match them better with the right attorney. We can kind of build some algorithm that allows them to kind of match up personality-wise what we can ascertain with the right attorney. And it also helps us kind of like connect with them more when we're in the consult room. Well, it didn't work. It didn't work at all. It was just a big long-term mess that I created for that. So that sticks out to me as one. We've spent, I don't know how many millions at this point on building our back-end CRM, our client relations management tool through Salesforce. I don't think we needed to do Salesforce. As I look back, we probably could have built something on our own for a fraction of that, or just went with one of the off-the-shelf tools that are out there. But we didn't do that. We're still with it because we have sunk costs in it. And it's kind of like, well, what are we going to do now? So we still use Salesforce today, but we've tried a ton of innovations there. I mean, hundreds of them there. We've gone in and trying different things that have not worked. So that's some of my most egregious dogs that are out there that I've totally blundered on. So you're going to try a lot, and hopefully your success rate on your innovations is better than mine at 1/3, but that's basically where mine sits right now. So let's talk about, why is an innovation even important? Why can't we just practice? I believe that mindset and that approach would have worked for the last 100+ years. We see how quickly the world is moving. I mean, what we do today with our day-to-day looks a lot different than 3-4 years ago. The speed of what's going on technologically, culturally is so fast today. We're seeing so much pressure coming into the legal space to find ways to innovate. I don't think that we can ignore that with a head in the sand approach. Now, we could take a back seat. We can be a slow mover. We could do all of those things. We don't have to be a first mover to make it work, to innovate in family law, in B2C law. So just know that's where I'm coming from. But we need to have a mindset toward efficiency improvements by way of innovating within our practice. So I want to make the case to you here today that every firm needs to have that mindset of innovation, of improvement, and not settle into how things have always been done, or settle into one set of processes and approaches and never try to improve those and innovate beyond that. And also, and I know so many attorneys are probably thinking as they're listening to this, well, I'm not a creative person. I'm not Steve Jobs. I'm not an innovator. I don't do those things. I just love to practice. And what I'm talking about here is designed just for you, because I'm not talking about those big creative type of folks that do big swings and have these big ostentatious innovations. What I'm talking about here is a steady operator, a steady law firm leader, a steady family lawyer that's practicing. And I believe that's where the vast majority of innovations are going to come from. And that's what's happened within our practice. It hasn't been my big harebrained ideas. It's been the small, meticulous, micro innovations that have come up from our paralegals, from our team, that have really innovated and advanced and moved our practice forward. I know right now that there are law firms out there, family law firms, our law firm, other ones that are quietly integrating AI into their document preparation. If you're not doing that, that's an easy place to start. Building automated systems for routine tasks. That doesn't take a computer science degree. You don't gotta be a coder to do that. There are real simple ways. It requires a little bit of time and looking for ways to do that. I know that there are firms out there that are creating digital client communication platforms right now to communicate better, faster, quicker with our clients that we hope will reduce the friction with getting information to clients. And we're working right now on turning one of these processes into an actual product within our firm that we can sell. So if you wait around and you don't think about these level of improvements, micro, small improvements in your firm, I think you're going to be at risk to find yourself vulnerable, even more vulnerable in a few years from now. It's kind of like the saying, how do you go bankrupt, right? At first, very slowly, then very quickly. I believe that is representative of what's going to happen in the near, not the long-term future, but the near future, 3, 5, 6 years down the road, if firms don't start thinking about and having a part of their approach to the practice of innovating within their practice. So that's the imperative for innovation in family law firms. So what does that look like, Jeff? Give me practical, tangible feel, so I can feel these things. And I want to point out to you again, I'm talking about tiny baby steps, trying many ideas, being comfortable with the ambiguity of not knowing if it's going to work. That's tough. That's tougher. It's easier to say than it is to do. We as lawyers want the certainty, right? We want to know if I give this input, I'm going to get this output. But to innovate, you don't have that luxury. That also demands, from a mindset standpoint, that we have patience over time, over the long haul. And I believe for you, for me, for even large firms like ours to innovate well, that means not trying too much at one time. If you're a small practice, 1 to 2 attorneys, maybe you're just going to innovate on one thing right now. So in family law, practically, what does that mean? That means testing a new tool, even when it's not perfect right off the bat, but just testing it. Say, okay, for this month, I'm going to try Gemini to write my affidavits. I'm going to speak those in. I'm not going to type it in. I'm going to speak it in through the microphone feature. And I'm just going to see what happens. And I'm going to keep playing with that until I can get it down into a process. That could mean learning a new system when you're already swamped on cases, okay? So I get that part of it. We have to be able to carve that out a little bit and have some time set aside and dedicated for thinking about and trying something new, even if you don't know what's around the corner on that. I want to forewarn you, it's messy, it's frustrating, it's not glamorous, but when you have that breakthrough and your practice becomes 1%, 2% more efficient. It's motivating, it's inspiring. You go out and you find another one and you keep adding those together and they keep compounding on top of each other. Then you wake up a year from now and find your practice 20% more efficient. Most of that efficiency gain falls to the bottom line for you. That's a really good feeling. So when you do this, the tangible results of innovating look like this. Now, you can have innovation that is internal or that is external facing that the public can see. So first, let's focus in on what that looks like operationally, internally in your practice. You can draft your divorce agreements much faster. We have increased the speed of our marital settlement agreements significantly. It allows you to manage client communications more effectively. We have built a system, one of our attorneys, Jeff Morrell's built a system that when a client emails, it takes that email, it writes a response, and it gives him options on which response he wants to give back. It gets his paralegal the same options. They can communicate much more quickly back to a client. And when they do communicate back to a client, that communication is thorough, it's full. It's not just a quick, pecking it out on his keyboard. So all of his emails, or many of his emails, are written initially by AI in his voice. Now, Jeff is not a coder. People on his team are not coders. So many people on his team, other lawyers around him are using this system, and it works incredibly well. It saves time. Maybe it only saves 10, 15, 20 minutes a day, but the accumulation of that over a week, over a month, over a year is really astounding, allowing them to get much more efficient, allowing them to serve clients in a better way. The responsiveness is even faster. It certainly for us has streamlined our document filing. We do e-filing here in Wisconsin and Illinois, and it just enables that to go so much quicker. So a lot of the innovations we've done around our document filing, our lawyers, our paralegals don't do it. We have teammates offshore who do that for us, and we've built systems to make it go easier and faster for them as well. That's some of the internal stuff, what it looks like, what are some of the tangible results of innovating today, like working on systems that are not glamorous to do, but in aggregate really add up to something meaningful. So externally, if you go back in our history, we started our practice we hired one lawyer that came and joined us, brought I think 11 clients over when he joined us. And we had no website that had any sort of history, so we weren't in any organic. We really focused on innovating within paid search. And we did fairly well there, but margins are low in paid search, right? Because you're spending a ton of money to get this traffic. And so PPC was productive for us, but it wasn't super profitable for us. That opened up an opportunity for us to really get our footing and get going. Then we really went into maps, and we worked hard to understand how to give the world what the world wanted from our map listings, what Google wanted in particular, and how to do that ethically and in the right way. And so Google would trust us. And so we did that. It's been a significant part of our growth over the years has been that. Then once we got those innovations done, then we moved into learning programmatic. How can we learn programmatic, which is retargeting, and do that across multiple platforms? And that today is a meaningful percentage of our incoming traffic comes from programmatic. And by the way, it's the most profitable traffic comes in from that. It's a small percentage of the overall number, but it's very profitable on how we're able to do that. There's not a ton of traffic out there to be found, but we do use it, and we use it very thoroughly and successfully. Today, that's allowed us to, next, I'm excited about this, but for us, we think this is going to open up opportunity for us to do branding traditional branding on a scale that would rival the large PI firms in a particular area. They're the ones with all the money and who know how to do branding exceptionally well. We think we could get to that particular level, even in our competitive markets of Milwaukee and Chicagoland. So how do you do this? Create an innovation list. I keep a running list of things that I want to see improved and ideas I have to do that, a whole list of them. So create your list. Don't make it super long. Make it just like the low-hanging, highest return type stuff. So list all of that out. List your processes out, your most common processes to do your practice to get your service out the door to your clients. Pick one that you believe you can execute in a month. Don't pick a long-term one. And of all the ones you can do in a month, find the one that has the biggest return, that you feel like can be a tangible result that you could see and that you can measure. And I can tell you from seeing firms, most likely this is in some aspect of your intake process for clients. Start small, start with one you can do in a month, and start working on that on a regular cadence. If it's daily, great. That may not be doable. Maybe it's 3 days a week. I wouldn't go anything less than that though. But do it 3 days a week, carve out time, come to work early those days, stay late those days, whatever it is, work on that process and try to find some gains through those innovations. In the beginning, define what success looks like. That's important because if you're not there in your time frame, it may not be a winner. You may need to discard it and go to the next one. I don't know. Individually, it's going to matter, right? Every case is different. But I have found that if I don't define success on the front end, what it looks like, maybe it's a gray area, but at least I got a range, then I find myself dumping resources into it far too long after, the thing is already dead. It stinks already, and I'm still dumping resources and time into it. So don't do that. Well, that's my process for innovating in our law firm. So if you're ready to move beyond just talking about innovation and start actually implementing it, I strongly recommend that you watch this video that I did, 8 simple AI actions to future-proof your law firm. This is my approach to AI. It's changing so quick. It's been an approach that has grounded me and has helped me stay focused on the few things that matter with AI and innovations. See you over there.